want to thank everyone tuning in from YouTube for the 6th episode ever of the Earth to Mars podcast. I'm joined by my good friend, my brother from another very close island, Juan. Welcome, Juan. Clap it up, clap it up. Welcome, Juan. This has been a long time coming. Okay, Juan is a really good friend of mine. We went to U of H together, and I don't even know if Juan knows this. We actually only met because I failed a Java class, and I had to redo it. And so that second time I had to do it is when I met Juan. So, fun fact on that. I don't know if you knew that.
I did not know.
And
that.
The only reason I failed is because I got lazy on the last project. Like, I know Java. That was the sad part, is I had taken Java so many times before that.
Yeah.
And then I met
still
Juan.
don't know Java.
Bro, Java's amazing. Anyway, and that was the first time I actually had ever met Juan. And the conversation actually started because we were like talking to the professor about like how to like package up a Java project or something as like an exe or jar file to be able to run it like an executable. And then we're just like, oh, you know, what's up? And then I think we like talked for a little bit after. So
right. I do remember that. What was that? Keith Lancaster, right?
Yeah. Amen.
Awesome professor.
Yeah. So, in this talk, we're gonna be talking about a lot of things. But I really want to first just take it back a little bit. I want to take it back. Can you tell me, what was it like, in Puerto Rico? You know, did you have a lot of friends growing up? Like, did you have a group of friends that maybe you hung out with and did maybe crazy things inspired by a certain TV show? Maybe codename Kids Next Door. I don't know. Could you talk a little about that?
That's funny you say that. Actually, they brought up codename Kids Next Door, dude, because I did actually create a very similar club in the neighborhood for that. I remember because CartoonNetwork.com. This is back in the day. They had like these games where you can like create like codename Kids Next Doors, like characters basically, right? And I made some fake IDs from this game, and I passed them out to my neighbors. I was like, all right, you're this guy, you're that guy. And we actually made a flag and everything for that. But yeah, dude, I lived in Puerto Rico for the first 18 years of my life. So like I spent the majority of my life there actually.
Damn.
I'm 25 now, so like I've only spent 7 years over here in Houston, Texas. But yeah, dude, I spent the whole my whole life in Puerto Rico. It was a lot of fun. Obviously, I still have a lot of friends I talk to. I'm very broken Spanish for some reason. I just completely lost that. But yeah, dude, it was fun. I have a lot of friends still to this day I interact with. A lot of them actually moved and migrated like to Florida, Colorado. I'm trying to think of other crazy places. Hawaii, like they've gone all over the place. Yeah.
Dang.
Exactly. Yeah, so it's been a ride. For sure.
I had heard in an interview that you had done that that you really went all in with these group of friends to like create like little business cards and little like flag like watching out little blocks and neighborhoods and stuff. So it sounded like you really enjoyed, like you really went in on it.
I don't know how I convinced them to do all those things, man. Because thinking back now in hindsight, I'm like, those are ridiculous ideas. I don't know how. Like the one I just mentioned about codename Kids Next Door thing. Like we legit made flags. Like I shit you not, we made flags on a pole and we stuck them in the park, in the neighborhood park, as if that was like our area. Again, like who the fuck are we like to take over a park and say this is ours now, you know? Bro. And like who's to follow my directions? I forgot what I said a couple times. I would be like, hey, you watch out for that street.
Oh my God.
For, I don't know what else you're gonna look at, but like things like that. And I was really into like spy stuff as a kid.
Yeah, I mean, who wasn't? Like, I mean, come on.
Yeah, like Spy Kids was the shit for me.
Yeah.
So like I would like I don't want to say buy books, but I would definitely indulge in anything spy related. So I would try to like give tasks to people, give code names to people, give missions to people.
Nice.
Buy fake guns, and like that was the blast, you know,
all
doing
in.
that with friends.
Yeah. So one other thing I think that you were doing in Puerto Rico at one point, is it true you used to like sell Xboxes, like modded Xboxes?
Yeah, dude. So back in, I'm not sure if anyone's had an Xbox 360 back in the day, but if you had an Xbox 360, more often than not, you had Red Ring of Death, which basically meant that you just couldn't play Xbox, and you could do so many tricks, like the towel trick, which is like to warm it up for hours, and you can do all sorts of things, or you can actually fix it yourself. Actually, one of them is to send it to Microsoft, but in Puerto Rico, as you may imagine, shipping and handling was like over the top expensive, and it would take like a month to a month and a half, which most people don't want to wait for, even regardless of where you're at. But in Puerto Rico specifically, people were like, I'm not gonna do that, right? So the only other option is to buy another Xbox or to try to fix it yourself, which I try to fix it myself because at that time I was kind of interested into soldering and like
Okay.
breaking stuff
Like
apart and
techie
seeing what's
stuff. Yeah.
inside. Yeah, yeah. So I learned the hard way. Well, I mean, the easy way is on YouTube, but the hard way was that I fucked up my own Xbox. I
Oh
completely burned
boy.
the chip, motherboard, and I was like, well, I'm screwed now. And then a friend of mine had the same issue, and then we tried on his, and his worked.
Nice.
And from there, I was like, okay, cool. Now I can buy broken Xboxes, fix them, and turn them for a profit, basically, and just
Hmm.
try to make money off it. At the time, I wasn't very financially savvy, so I was just in my mind, I was like, oh, I'll sell it for I don't know, $20, $30, $50, whatever.
Yeah.
When I came to Houston, is when I became a lot more savvy in regards to selling that. So I started buying the pieces that takes to fix it
Yeah.
for like it would cost me to fix an Xbox. It would cost me close to like 60 cents to a dollar.
Hmm.
But I would buy these Xboxes for like $20. The most expensive one I ever bought was $25.
Damn.
And I would flip it for like 60, 70, $90,
Wow.
depending on what I yeah. I had a lot of fun with that,
So
but it
much
all
higher
started
margins. Yeah.
yeah, the highest I ever sold an Xbox, I bundle it with like some controllers someone gave me and some games I didn't care about,
Bro.
and the highest I sold it was like 150, and the
Damn.
cost for me was like close to like 20, maybe. I think for that one actually I paid because it was a bundle. I think I paid like $40.
Hmm.
But, like, the margin is 110, maybe let's say $100
Yeah.
off of that, and
Yeah.
to repair it, it takes, like, less than an hour, and I got faster as I did it. But it all started with my Xbox breaking down and also, like, modding the controllers. Back in the day, you can mod your
Ah.
controllers
Yeah.
so you can
Yeah.
shoot faster. And, this was, like, 7th grade, actually, now I think about it, and, I did that for my friends just because we were really into Call of Duty at the time, and that was, like, a cheat, and for me, it was, like, a project, like, why
Yeah.
not?
You're like, this is fun.
I did that, I painted controllers for people,
Love
I
it.
made a business out of it, kinda. I don't know how much money I made, probably not that much, but it was fun, for
Yeah.
sure.
Would you consider that like was that like maybe like the first like business you had ever done? You think or like the first?
No, dude, this is
No.
funny, it's funny you brought this up. So this was 7th grade, right?
Okay.
But if you take it back to, like, kindergarten no, I'm kidding, not kindergarten, but, if you take it back to, like, I think
I
it
was in
was,
my
like,
mom's
5th grade.
womb selling fucking chicle,
Just just flip
Babalu
into
and
the other
chicle. Yeah.
"Hey, man, you wanna get out of here? You gotta go by me with $20." No, dude, the very first that I can recall, and at the time I considered it, like I'm flipping and making money out of it was, I think was like, I would say 2nd to 5th grade, between there. I don't know what time frame, but let's say, 5th grade to give me a little bit of maturity, right?
Mm.
So 5th grade, up until that point, I was playing a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh, like a lot, and competitively I mean, competitively,
Oh.
air quotes, for tournaments in Puerto Rico, my school.
Wow.
So, like, we
Yeah.
would bet cards, bet decks, and I would win often. And I would also, like, I would spend a lot of money, allowance or whatever to, buy a lot of packs. So I would have cards and cards for days, right?
Bro.
So what happened was that one time my mom said, or my mom or dad or both, I don't know, maybe they took turns in telling me this, but basically they were like, "You have too many cards. Like, what the fuck are you gonna do with them? Like, do something with them. Like, you just have them piled up there for no
Yeah.
reason." And I was like, "Well, let me sell it to people." So this is a little devious. I'm not very proud of this for thinking about this, but I did it, and now in hindsight, I'm like, that's fucked up. I wouldn't have do it again.
Sure.
But it's kind of like to a kid, you're like nodding, like, "Ah, that's clever," but as an adult, you're like, "Nah, it's fucked up, man." So, anyways, as a kid, what I did was I packaged these cards, knowing what people. First of all, the people who were gonna buy, I already knew who were gonna buy. As a select
Mm.
group of like 20 or 30 people.
Hmm.
I already knew which cards you wanted. I already knew
Gotcha.
which cards you were looking for because I either beat you and got your card, or
Yep.
I know that you talked to me about the card you're looking for.
Gotcha.
So let's say you're looking for the right arm of I forgot Exodia, I think was
Exodia.
a card. Yeah, yeah. So let's say I know you want the right arm. I have the right arm. I would package purposely where I would give you the first package that gives you that card that you wanted.
Mm.
Now you think that every package I give you has a very valuable price, and I
Right.
would know exactly what's in every single of the
Oh
packages
my
I have.
god.
So I
Yeah.
would I knew what to sell you, I knew what to give you, and I knew what'll get you hooked on, like, buying more, and, like, that's exactly what happened to, like, the majority of kids. Like, they would buy, packs left and right, and for me, they
They're
didn't
like,
know this, but
woo,
for me, they
woo,
really
woo.
yeah, yeah. So, like, it was packs of 9. The odd number in the middle would be, like, the rare card,
Yeah.
but I know that
Jesus.
I didn't have that many rare cards, so I knew that some of these packs have to contain shitty cards.
Yeah.
But I
Duds.
wouldn't give it to you in the first buy because I just knew that
Oh
if you
my
got the
god,
first
bro!
buy
You
and
were
you
loot
did
boxing before loot boxes were a thing.
right. Exactly. I mean, I don't, is that what loot boxing
Yo,
does?
basically, it's what a fucking loot box
Yeah.
is. You're like, I want to buy a loot
Yeah.
box because you don't know what you're gonna get, and that's why it's like gambling.
Right.
You're
Right.
making these
Right.
little kids gamble.
Yeah, yeah. So the school eventually found out, and they told me to stop selling. But it was really
Yo.
really fun because a lot of people found out that I was selling cards, that I was like the guy for cards, and I got
Oh
invited
my
to like way
god.
more events, and it was a blast. But that was for sure the very first time I said I have something of value and
Yeah,
I can sell it and make money out of it to other people, and that was it.
that's an
But I say
amazing
it's devious
story.
because I was playing with your emotions to get you to buy a
Yeah,
card. I didn't give a
yeah.
single and some people I sold you a card. Let's say I sold you a really nice card, but I want it back. So I
Mm.
would play you for it. And sometimes I would beat them again and I'll be like, "Ah, man, this is all messed up now."
Bro, you're fucking heartless.
At the time, yeah, because at the time I just saw it as cards. I didn't see much more than I didn't see the monetary like of course I sold it to make money,
Sure.
but I never thought like if I made $5 or made $20, I didn't care a difference. To me, it was like I'm getting rid of the cards and I'm making money, and why not? I can buy more candy or whatever the hell I want to buy.
That's a great ass story. I had no idea that you did that.
Yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh, baby. I still play Yu-Gi-Oh to
Oh,
this day.
oh wow! I didn't know that.
Yeah, not in person,
Damn.
unfortunately.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, but on Yu-Gi-Oh online or whatever.
yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
awesome. That's fucking
But
amazing. So do you like? So when you think about stories like this from your past, when you were like doing different entrepreneurial things like this, like, did it ever? From what I understood from a previous interview that you've done, you didn't really quite make the connection that like this is stuff that you were doing way back then, and how you now like into your adulthood, you're like, this is something I kind of like want to keep doing, like something I want to keep trying to do. Like, has it always been like you were like a little kid trying to like hustle people with Yu-Gi-Oh cards, and then you knew that this was something that you kind of wanted to lean towards, or like what?
no,
How did
dude.
that? Yeah.
No, dude, not at all, actually. Like I said, like $5 or $20, I didn't care. I was just trying to get rid of the cards and get some money for candy. I never
Yeah.
thought that was a great skill. For me, it was just like I have something on my plate, I gotta get rid of it. That
Hmm.
was how I saw it.
Hmm.
And then the Xbox thing, I just really loved the soldering stuff and breaking
Right.
stuff
It was a
apart
fun
and
tech
learning about it.
project.
Right. So and quite frankly, the first 18 years of my life, I think I never really felt like I had a North Star or a plan or anything. I really just winged it, have fun, and for better or worse, but honestly. And I really never thought of like what to do. And then from that and then moving to Houston, I
Hmm.
said, well, now I gotta get my act together. Like let's settle down. Let's try to figure out what's worth it to pursue, right? And I went to college, a Lone Star College. I met my girlfriend, who's now my fiance. I met my best friends, and from that group that we met in probably in the first 6 months, we stayed together as friends. To this day, we're best friends.
Love it.
And what's it called? This group, kind of not. I don't want to say helped me, but definitely what's it called? Promoted. Like you should try college. Just give it a try,
Supported you.
and
Yeah, yeah.
you'll do great things. And I actually saw a lot of reward from that. I really did. I really enjoyed not necessarily college. It's not the classes itself, but the journey of doing this rudimentary thing.
Sure.
And it's not until I jumped into the workforce, until I jumped into this corporate life and
Yeah.
all, I made it, quote unquote,
Nine to
for
five.
whatever I was envisioning for the past 6 years, that I realized I want to try something else, man. This is really not working out for me. I probably should have done my own thing. And when I
Mhm.
started doing my own thing, I was like thinking back to Yu-Gi-Oh cards, to Xboxes, and I'm like, holy shit, I've been doing this for a while now, for years now. Not all together consecutively, but
Mhm.
I've done this previously, and I can take some things from these small projects and endeavors to help me today on like startups and whatever it is that I'm invested in.
Right.
So I never really from day one woke up and like, I'm selling Yu-Gi cards till the day I die. I'm selling stuff till the day. No, that's not true.
Right. It's kind of once you realize that you kind of didn't want to keep doing what like the 9 to 5 or the corporate stuff, that you're like, why don't I go do what I've always kind of been naturally drawn to, is like kind of creating something and trying to sell it or something like that, right?
Yeah, well, even then, like today, like these days, I'm sorry, to till this day, sorry, that's what I meant to say. I still find things where I connect, I reconnect with like things I did in the past, and I'm like, okay, that's why I like this, and I'm
Mm.
trying to analyze it that way. Like, why am I drawn to this? And to be quite frank, when I started doing my own thing, I still didn't think of like back in the day Yu-Gi-Oh or back in the day Xbox, and like let me apply this. To me, I was just trying to figure it out, and as I'm trying to figure it out, I'm like, oh my god, I've done this before and I did it this way and it works. Cool. Let's try to pick from that and continue going. But it's not until recently that I'm like connecting the dots, and I'm like, oh my god, I actually love to do my own thing, and if it breaks, it breaks. If it continues, that's awesome. But continue on, and
Right.
that's kind of how I live
Experimenting and
now.
tinkering.
Right, right. And honestly, I don't regret anything. I'm so happy
Yeah.
I took college very, very seriously. Not the classes. I didn't give a shit about classes, but as far as getting a job and like internships, I
Yeah.
really, really loved that process, that journey of like preparing your resume, interviewing, headhunting, trying to convince people that you're worth it
Hmm.
for their job or for their internship, kicking ass at that internship or
Yeah. Yeah.
opportunity,
Yeah.
moving on. Like I really enjoyed all that. But it's not until I graduated and I got the job that for the most part kind of calls it in as far as like, well, this is it. Now that what's next is to laterally move,
Yeah.
get promoted
Yeah.
or move to other
You're
companies, and
analyst
that's
A
pretty much it.
now. You got to shoot for A1 or A2 or
Right,
A3.
right. 'Cause up until graduation, for me, it was a hustle of like, I still don't have anything certain yet.
Mm.
Nothing's for sure yet. I'm
Gotcha.
still interning, trying to like prove
Gotcha.
myself, and that was what kept me up going. And it's not until I got my after graduation that, for the most part, you're pretty much safe. You just stay along the lines, you're safe.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I'm just discovering as I'm talking right now. That's probably why I got so bored out of my mind, and like I was like, I got to get out of this.
Hmm.
Probably
Yeah,
because I
like
didn't feel I
you
felt
like the
secure.
pursuit of something, and you're saying this is what I'm working towards. I'm going to go for. I'm going to work as hard as fuck to try to work towards it, and then it's only until you kind of got there that you're like, okay, maybe this isn't the finish line that I need to be shooting for. Like this isn't the goal.
Right.
At least that goal wasn't really quite for me, which is fine. I mean, it still shows that you went through the paces and the motion of actually trying that, and now you can just kind of apply it to something where you can just kind of keep going at it, right?
No, exactly, and I think obviously we're both really young. Who the fuck? What the fuck do we know, right? We've only lived like what, a quarter of a life, but so far, what I can at
Oh,
least guarantee is that what I can at least guarantee is that or not guarantee, but what I can at least think about is that the closer you are to your goal, the better. But once you reach that goal, I feel like you have to either add a different goal or otherwise you might plateau. And so for me, at least from my perspective, I just get bored and drained and depressed out of my mind. I just feel like I'm not doing anything,
mm,
which is not true because I'm just living life. I don't need to take it that granular, but like having this far to reach goal is far better for me than having a goal that's I'm about to accomplish it tomorrow.
right.
And once tomorrow hits, I hit it, and then now what?
Yeah, you just stomp a goal. It's like that's not as fun as like the actual seeing, like working on something for over however long and then getting to that point or like working towards it. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of
Yeah.
like it's kind of part of the reason why some goals in some aspects are better to be kind of like not like hard to attain, but not super described in like well described in some aspects, right? So obviously goal setting, we all know the SMART, all that, whatever, that's fine. But I think what
Right.
you're really talking about is kind of saying, like that. So, okay, to bring it to someone that we all know and love, Gary Vee, right? His whole thing is like the Jets, right? Like, oh, I'm going to get the Jets to touch the Jets because to be able to
Right.
buy a fucking football team or whatever is like so much, a giant mountain, whatever, right? But it's all about the
Right.
journey, right? And that's kind of what we're saying is that like the journey to get there is really what's kind of drives you. And then, realizing that once you hit one goal, it's all about kind of keeping it going, right?
Yeah.
So would
Yeah,
you
yeah.
say that what you're doing now is way more entertaining for you? Like how that once you realize that okay, this 9 to 5 stuff isn't for me, what were the next steps you took, or how did that play out?
So
Or
are you asking like
how
when I realized
yeah, how is
that
it
I
how
didn't
is
like
it
it?
currently playing out? Because it wasn't that long ago I think that you're like F this 9 to 5 stuff, right?
Uh, well, I'll be very honest. I think it took me like 2 weeks, 3 weeks within the job that I was like, "Wow, this really, really, really hurts my
I
soul."
think
Like, it's
I want to
really
cut you off.
going
This
like,
is something I think I remember you saying is that you were like, "Wow, I'm looking around at the people
yes.
that I work with." Yeah, what was it that you said?
I actually owe this to my business, who's my business partner now, but
Mhm.
like my good friend Adam, who's like, how's at that time we still talked about projects. We always geeked out about like projects and stuff like that. But he was doing his own thing in real estate. I was obviously doing this thing, and I remember I was talking to him, and I was explaining, oh, the job's pretty fair so far. I explained it very, very nonchalant.
Yeah.
And he asked, okay, cool. Well, what I would do if I were you, I would look around to your coworkers or the people that are quote unquote above you and see yourself in those shoes, in that desk, in that chair, and see, would you like to be there 40 years from now? And I immediately, like, when he told me that, I just, oh yeah, I'll take it in. But it's not until the next day I went into work and I did that, I was like, fuck me, man, this is soul crushing. And granted, again, not to shit on anyone who's doing that, but for me personally, because like I just described, I need to chase a goal, not be at the goalpost. Like that to me was soul crushing immediately. Like I was just like, this sucks ass,
It
and
really opened
it
your
sounds like
eyes. Yeah.
right. It sounds like I'm blaming Adam, right? But it's not the case. It's more like he helped me get to what I was already gonna get to
Yeah.
just quicker. I was already gonna
Right.
get to the point where I was like, well, I don't like this. How do I move on? I wasn't gonna wait 5 years to be like, well, this kind of sucks. Now what? Yeah,
So
and
in a lot of ways, it was a godsend. Like that's yeah. I remember you said that to me, and I was like, "Fuck!" Like this is rough,
also
man.
depends what you look at, because and you're in IT as well, right? But
Yeah,
I think you're in a different level of IT. I think you're more managerial.
it
For
was like
me, I was
consulting. Yeah, yeah. But,
right. 'Cause to me, that's way more fun. I'll describe mine. Mine was technically a glorified technical support,
mm,
and glorified because the pay was way upscale than technical support would, and the level of work still entailed like picking up the phone. Someone's like, "This doesn't work for me," and you got to like
yeah,
troubleshoot that. So immediately I felt stuck. I feel like this is not a progressive role. Like I'm
gotcha.
not. What am I gonna do after this? Like protect other. I mean, what's it called? Help other people with other tools. Like it's just the same thing over and over again.
Yep.
So then I look at my coworkers, they're doing the same thing. So it's very easy. It's almost like the dominoes already set in place for me to look at and be like, all right, let's knock these down. Like I'm looking at people who are in technical support technically, and doing that for 40 years for me is just mind-boggling. They
Yeah.
and granted, those people haven't done that for 40 years. They were doing other things across the years. They had only been in that department for like I think the last 7 years. So in
Sure.
theory, I shouldn't have jumped the gun and said that, but like that's how I felt at the time. I was like, I can't see myself 40 years doing this. This is insane.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, it was
so
just crazy.
so once you realize this, and once you at least like looked around, and you were like, okay, this is not for me. What'd you end up doing then?
Immediately started thinking of plans of like how to get out.
Mm,
I knew that keep in mind also like I just finished college, right?
mm,
I obviously had student not obviously not everyone has this, but I had student loans.
okay.
I need to pay that. And it's kind of like at a crossroads where like you don't really want to go back to other jobs like for some reason like and this is completely wrong but at the time I thought like I don't want to be a server again and just to avoid the 9 to 5 let me
Mm,
at least rack in the dough from this job, save
right.
as much money as possible, pay off my loan so I have no debt, nothing's following me, nothing's
Yep.
chasing me, and then I can pursue whatever I want.
Mm,
That's exactly what I did. So immediately, keep in mind, like this is another thing is that even though I was in college, I was always trying to do some side gigs. I was really learning. I was getting really, really deep into social media, and by social media, I mean marketing.
okay.
Before anyone, oversaturated hashtags, like convincing a business owner that using hashtags is good for their business at that time was like crazy,
You're an
like
expert.
insane, and now it's like, horseshit, right? But like
Yeah.
back in the day, you could build a business on just that. Obviously, I did way more than that, but at the time I was learning about that. I was like already getting into Gary Vee. I was still in college. So I was always learning on the side, regardless if I ever even thought about building a business around this. But when it came to time for me realizing, okay, I got to find something else and plot an actual plan,
Hmm.
obviously that was like, okay, I really got to hone in the things I know about social media and like I gotta like reach out to people and see like what they're doing. And again, my friend who's my business partner today was already involved in a lot of stuff. So I hit him up. He's been an entrepreneur for like the last, I don't know, like 20 years. I don't know,
Yeah.
something like that. And I hit him up and I was like, hey, what are you doing? What are you working on? I would love to hear what your thoughts are, and I would like to explain where I'm at, and like what I'd like to do. And he kind of put me with in touch with himself, but and more like in line with what he's doing. And I've tried to find ways of like, how can I bring value to him?
Mm,
And that's how I started. I started like saying, hey, dude, you should to, and he was in real estate at the time. I was like, hey, to dominate in real estate, which by the way, I was what, 21? The fuck do I know about dominating a market? Like I didn't know shit, but I thought I knew shit. I thought I knew enough to convince people in the room that I know something that they don't.
okay. Okay.
And I was pitching that to him, and he was like, okay, let's plot this out. Let's work together. Literally, I think it was within a month, Gary Vee was coming to a convention here in Houston.
Mm,
And at the time, I was really into him, and I had mentioned Gary Vee to my friend, and he was like, "Oh, let's go." So we went and paid like $20 for this. It
awesome.
was a great convention, but it was a sales-a-thon. I'm not sure if you've ever been to conventions for entrepreneurship.
Mm,
It's a bunch of sales tactics. I'm never going to a convention again. But basically,
oh.
every single person speaking is trying to sell you on a product or a service or a
Gotcha.
get rich quick scheme, right?
Sure.
Except Gary Vee is actually just promoting his text messaging platform. Which,
Okay.
by
Yeah.
the way, I should mention this is like 3 or 4 years ago. Before right now, every actor and celebrity is having the text
Yeah,
messaging stuff.
text me at what, like Ninja. Ninja has one. The
Right.
community, right? I think.
Yeah, exactly. So everyone, a lot of people have that, but he was doing this like back in like 2015, 17, something like that. Actually, so 17, 18. Anyways, we went to the convention. It was awesome. I obviously was already in love with like Gary Vee's content, and then my friend kind of took the dose as well. He was like, "This is awesome. This dude knows his shit." And
Yeah.
I've been in the game forever, and I didn't even know about this guy.
Mm.
We literally within the trip back from like the convention, which was in the NRG
Yeah.
stadium in Houston, to downtown, which is like we took the rail, which is like 20 minutes.
Yeah. That's.
Dude, within those 20 minutes, him and I came up with a plan of a business.
Mm.
A business, or I should say, probably business plan. Probably that's probably why that exists. We
Plan
can
for
create.
business.
We created a business. We just drew a chicken scratches, just like what's it called? Talking about the business plan.
Yeah.
I shit you not. Within like less than a week, coincidentally, one of my friend's leads, and by leads, and real estate that's looking to
Yeah.
buy or whatever the hell. I don't know if they came like that, but anyways, we came in contact with a guy who's actively trying to build this platform with his own money. A guy who's made the majority of his wealth in real estate and real estate magazines back in the
Right.
day, and he's made a fortune on this. So he was looking to build something similar to what we drew out on those notepads.
Wow.
So obviously my friend pitched to him like, "Hey, we're trying to build the same thing. We are." Keep in mind, this guy is like way older than me,
Sure.
like generations, right? So uh, we are the young guys, the young guns, and when we're pitching not only his idea but meshed with like the new stuff that we're building, it was just a perfect combination,
That's
and we've been
crazy.
working together since then. But it was
Wow.
pure like I don't want to say just coincidence because it's a lot of luck involved, but it's really like me always learning about something, my
Right.
friend always hearing me out, my friend always taking whatever opportunity comes in and just trying to make the best out of it, and me adopting that mentality with them.
Wow.
So yeah,
That's crazy.
yeah. So that's how it started. And right now, I mean, it started with one company. And it's been, I mean, every time you and I meet in person, I always tell you like this other project we're building, working
Yeah.
on,
Yeah. I always
it
love
goes
that.
alongside with it. Yeah. So
That's crazy.
yeah,
So
that's
so
how it
basically it
started.
was so and that's and so for the people listening, so this is what you currently are working on now. So like you
Yeah.
you were learning about all this stuff on the side, and you had this person who you like kind of talked to, and would I think Adam, you're the business partner, right? And
Mhm.
like talk to him about it, and then you just kind of realize, okay, this 9 to 5 stuff ain't for you, at least. And then you kind of like pivoted into this, like, let me just jump into this and try to go all the way in that, right?
Right. Keep in mind though, again, I said like within like 3 weeks, maybe a month is when I said I want to get out of here.
Hmm.
I still worked there for a year and a half.
Oh, okay.
Probably close to 2 years, actually. Very, very close to 2 years.
Right. And you're just
Because
kind of like phoning it in, like, all right, like, let me just save up this money, and then
not only that, well, not only say, well, I stayed in the job because it would be foolish of me to just quit my job.
Sure.
It would have been very, very foolish of me.
Okay.
Because I was making really good money, and like it was a very chill job. I had the only reason I would quit is because I didn't like it. And that sounds like at the time, even now, it just sounds like a very childish way of quitting.
Mm.
When in reality, objectively speaking, I was making a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
It was a very relaxed schedule. No one was on my ass for getting there at 8 a.m., leaving at 5. I just had to show up, do the job, answer any tickets, and that's it.
Okay.
Right. So like it was a very chill job. And I knew that before I ever could leave, I need to have something ready. And it doesn't
Gotcha.
have to be a fully cooked chicken, but it has to be at least like marinated and like ready
Half-baked.
for popping over. Like at least something that's promising, or at least it can at least open my door to something else. You're never gonna get a super sure, secure option. So don't ever wait for that. If anyone's considering that, don't ever wait for like the sure, like, oh, everything's ready, set and go. This private jet is ready for you to fly. Like it's never
Because
gonna be
it'll
like that.
hardly ever be
Yeah,
like
for
that.
me, I was still scared till the day I quit. I was still scared shitless of like what decision I'm making. Yeah, I mean, my girlfriend can attest to that because I told her all about it every time, right?
And she's like, what
made
the
a day,
fuck
but
are you
like,
doing?
right. But anyways, I was saving up for the loans, pay off my loans, have no debt. At the same time, though, as soon as I got off from work, like around 4:34, I would go home and immediately work on this side gig.
Got it.
And I worked for free. By the way, I just mentioned this right at the gate. I worked for free for like 8 months, something like
Mm.
that, like a year, maybe even more, until I started getting paid from this side gig with this my friend and the other guy. Because again, I was only working part-time with them. I couldn't expect much more. And again, I was a new kid. I was 22 at the time.
Hmm.
Who am I to reel in the cash at this time, right? But I managed to prove myself, managed to work on it, and it would turn I think for like 6 to 7 months in a row. It was 9 a.m. go to the corporate job, 4 to 4:30 p.m. go home, quick snack, work until like 1 a.m. That's how
Damn.
it was literally for like 6 to 7 months in a row. And then
Damn.
weekends, I wouldn't work obviously the corporate job, but I would still work on my the side gig.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and that time it was phenomenal. I was reeling in probably not the most, but definitely a lot of cash, and was helping me pay off my loans even quicker and quicker and quicker, and also solidifying my position in this platform, in this job, basically in this startup
Yeah, yeah,
for that
yeah,
matter.
yeah. Because you were able to contribute a lot, like meaningful work over the course of that
Yeah,
long time period, to really solidify
right,
like your
right.
place in this company. Dang.
Yeah, no, it was a phenomenal time because it's different, now because I'm only working on that, right? Not just on that, but I'm saying, like, with the same group of people and
Yep.
different projects, right? As opposed to before, I was trying to it was a race. I felt like I was always racing for better or worse. Like, times I was like, "Oh my god, this is a lot," but other times I'm like, "This is exciting. Let's fucking
Yeah,
go. Let's go.
yeah.
We gotta keep running. Let's do this. We're almost there." And I'll never forget, like, the one moment, like, from that moment forward is when I was, like, proven to
Mm,
the team. It was, we went to a big, very important meeting up in Dallas. I remember I
mhm.
took a day off, a sick day from, the corporate job to
Love
go to
it.
this meeting,
Love it.
up in Dallas. We took a bus. I remember we took a bus that's like 4 hours long, I don't know. We took a bus to this big meeting. It's this huge advertising firm. It's like the number one in the nation that's privately owned. And they were willing to take our project on. And by our project, it's not just me, my friend Adam, and this other investor guy.
Yeah.
It's like a group of like 20 to 30 people involved in the board, and they're all like proven like veterans in businesses, regardless. Like they've
Gotcha.
made millions in real estate, or they've been CMOs, chief marketing
Yeah,
officers
yeah.
for certain companies. Like they're top dogs. Uh, I'm just the kid who just graduated college, right? Yes, exactly, exact clean cut,
You're in a suit
cute
and
as
you're
hell.
like,
Exactly. No, and there's pictures. I'll send you pictures. I wish I can show them on stream right now, but there's pictures of me wearing a suit that sure fits me, but it's like a suit I just got. I was like, fuck it, I got to make it work. I got to look something professional.
yeah.
Anyways, in this meeting, I'll never forget. They were talking about like our social strategy and like
Mm,
our overall branding. And up until this moment, I had created myself some social accounts just to placeholders, and
yep.
I've done some type of branding. And I'll never forget the moment that they were like, they hit their climax of their like punchline of like, this is it, this is what you guys should do. And then I raised my hand. I was like, I've actually already done like 90% of what you said onto all these things as of yet. And I remember I said it, and not in a douchey like, oh, I did this already. I was more like, oh, that's awesome. We already did this. We already implemented this. Now we just are missing this other 10% or whatever.
Hmm.
I remember the silence in the room, and I looked behind because I was like, "What did I speak out of line?" And I can see my friend Adam like saying like, "Fuck yeah!" And then the
Oh,
CMO, who has been previously a CMO for other companies,
yeah.
the investor was like, "This guy's got it," and everyone was like, "Yeah, this guy's got it." It was out of a movie. I'll never forget it.
Fuck.
I'll never forget it because up until that moment, I felt like I didn't belong. I was like the young kid who doesn't belong in this room of like fully all successful people, and I'm just throwing ideas like I know shit. And then when that landed, up from there on, my confidence grew up for better or worse.
Yeah.
And then I was trusted with a lot more jobs and responsibilities to the point where now I'm like managing. I'm in operations right now, just managing marketing, developing, content creation, just branding for that matter. So it all came from that, and I'll never forget that because up until then I felt like I didn't belong. From that, I felt like I was killing it, or at least belonging.
Man. Bro, I
Yeah.
can't wait to watch the movie, bro. That's gonna be sick.
It's not. No,
That's
dude.
that's crazy. So it was you and your team, and you were like presenting or pitching it to this other group, like this other board, or what? How was it?
Okay, so before I showed up to Dallas,
Yeah.
the advertising company, the number one, it was like the number one, it still is number one in the nation that's privately owned.
Okay.
What's it called? It's the Richards Group. I don't know why I'm saying like no names. It's called the Richards Group in Dallas.
Okay.
They had been already in talks with my team just without me because I was working part time.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not really
Yeah, you're
involved
just
in these
fucking.
board
Yeah,
meetings.
he's just fucking Juan.
They have
Yeah,
been
yeah.
talking. Yeah, exactly, exactly. Who's this kid? So they have been already talking. They already knew the idea. They've already even met before to pitch the idea. this meeting that I went was more of them doing their homework after the first meeting and saying, okay, this is what we have for you. This is our study. This is what your branding is gonna be,
Gotcha.
basically. And I'm
Gotcha.
just like, at that point, I didn't need to be in the first meeting because I already knew everything. I'm already telling what this is all about in the
Mhm.
beginning. I'm just there to recap what they're giving us and just give my feedback. And
Gotcha.
I did. There's a couple of times where I just bit my tongue because I was like, I don't want to talk. I don't know. And then that moment happened that I
The
spoke and it was
fucking
right. I
grand
was like, fuck yeah,
slam.
I'm gonna talk. Yeah. So like,
God.
it's not like I went there to pitch. I just went there to listen. Basically, that was my role: is to listen, take in, give opinions, if anything, because I'm the young kid who understands the
Social media.
social. Yeah, which is ridiculous. But I mean, at the time, I was like, fuck it, I'll take
We'll
that title.
take
Let's
it,
do it.
baby.
Yeah. So yeah, that's
Oh,
how that happened.
that's freaking amazing. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I kind of remember you telling me parts of that story, but just hearing you like laid out like that is just like, man, like all the culmination of all your work on this, on the, you know, on the side and contributing and everything, and then just like fucking nailing it and fucking knocking it out of the park. That's fucking great, man. That's gonna be a great
That's
movie.
probably one of the homers I've done. Obviously, I
Yeah,
fucked up way more times than
for
I've ever
sure,
succeeded, but
for
especially
sure.
in these projects, dude. But like that moment to me was like very very rewarding because keep in mind, up until then, I'm still shitting my pants of like what I want to do. I don't like where I'm at. I don't know if this is gonna work.
Right.
I'm gonna put all my chips in on both of these. One to maintain the job, pay my bills,
Hmm.
and live happy, and continue to invest in this, and I put all my chips on this side. As much as possible to like at least put myself in the best position to succeed if this project does succeed at all.
Gotcha, gotcha. You don't want to go. It's kind of like balancing, you know, one foot in one foot in the other.
Right, until I'm ready to just fucking jump. You know.
Damn. What was the moment like when you realized like damn, I'm gonna like quit my job. Like I'm gonna like do this.
I wish I had just as good a story for that. I wish I had like I was excited, but
Man, he
like I
walked into
said, dude.
HR. He's like, hey, here's my 2 weeks, and he walked out.
Oh no,
Yeah.
dude, I suck at quitting. Dude, to this day, I suck at quitting. I am horrible at quitting. I am more probable. It's more probable that I'll stay at a job because I hate the fact of quitting than of me
Wow.
just quitting and leaving. For me, like quitting, there's only been one job in my life. Even this one that I hate, I still didn't like quitting. So one job in my life that I was like, all right, I'm ready to quit. This is exciting. Let's get the fuck out. And that was a job I did for like 3 months. I got
Oh,
myself into it because I convinced them that I was able to do what finance people are able to do. I don't know how I convinced them, but I obviously could not do what finance people can. And I was like, hey, this is a bad fit. I gotta go. But to go back to the moment that I actually quit,
yeah.
it took a lot of not guts. I'm sorry. It took a lot of like me just saying, let's man up. You gotta do it now.
A
And
lot of
what
like,
also helped was
I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this.
dude, it was like a full month of like me
Yo.
planning it, and it
Wow.
was ridiculous because I could have quit that day, not wait a whole month. But it's only because I was like, oh man, how do I do it? What's the best way? Coincidentally, this is kind of funny, is that at the corporate job, at the same time, they came up to me and said, like, hey, you've been doing really good. We want to put you as a managerial role for this project. And it's not the bigger project, but they were downplaying it. But at the time, I was like, man, they're putting me in a project for Power BI, which at the time was like fairly new at that company.
Yeah.
I already knew Power BI. I already like spent a lot of time Power BI,
Gotcha.
an analytics tool, by the way,
Yeah.
made
Yeah.
by Microsoft.
Hmm.
It's vastly used in oil and gas companies. So I was like, could be my role to expand. But at the time, I was already nailed in on like, I gotta get the fuck out of here. This is
Gotcha.
not gonna be my thing. And by the way, it could have been great the other way around too. I could have done amazing at that Power BI project and loved it. Maybe even completely shift my opinion on corporate life. It
Like,
could have happened.
damn, I could have like led a new initiative and had to be in charge of making sure there was like a successful. Boo,
Right.
boo, 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 boo.
Right. And the reason I'm saying this is because I really don't want anyone to take this and say, fuck 9 to 5s.
Oh, it's
That's
too
not the
late. I
case.
already put in my 2 weeks. I texted the HR lady in the middle of this podcast, bro. Are you kidding me?
No, man. No. I mean, yeah. I mean, if you feel right, then do it. But like, I just don't want anyone to think that quitting 9 to 5 is an achievement. If anything, it's a step in order for the next thing to continue. And for me, that's how it was.
Right.
And that's why
Right.
I never felt confident when I quit. When I quit, I still felt like I was making a horrible mistake, but I gotta like believe in it and like let's see where it goes. Like there was never a moment where I'm like, yes, I quit.
Right.
I was still
It's
like,
important to underline that you were trying to make sure you weren't even sure if quitting would be the right thing. It was making sure that you had a solid like backup slash like that you weren't making the bad choice, because it was, it's very serious, taking this stability that you had and then saying, okay, it wasn't a easy decision, and it wasn't something that you were taking lightly, right? You made sure you had a backup that you could handle. And then once it turned into, okay, now after all the hard work that you also put in on the side, that you could see a future where you can still kind of get back to that stability, or have something, good, more rock solid.
Right. And like, keep in mind, I should have also mentioned this. I'm not a lone wolf. I've been dating my girlfriend since late 2013, let's say 2014. So, close to 7 years now.
Damn.
What's it called? And at the time, keep in mind, like when I graduated college, in both of our minds, this is awesome. All we got to do is pay loans. And we had already talked about getting engaged to each other. Once we pay off loans, just, now after that, it's just a matter of getting engaged. Like kind of a rudimentary thing. So imagine me coming home from work one day, making really good money, everything's plotted out, and saying, hey, that plan we created, I'm gonna have to like nix that, because now I want to do my own thing. Who I don't even know if it's gonna make any money. I don't even know we'll be making even half as much as what we're making now. But I need to do this, otherwise I am gonna be depressed and not gonna like myself. So, and you saw that I just got engaged recently. It's because everything's been going well. Everything's going well, and it just felt right, and it was just the right moment. But like, technically, per the plan that I originally created with her, we were supposed to get engaged like, I don't know, 2019, 2018. Like earlier than now, basically, what I'm getting at. But luckily we were able to work it out together, and she had faith in me and gave me the support I needed, and propelled me into a place where I was like confident that I can do this, but also holding my feet to the fire that you better make this work, because we're risking a lot of stability for your wildest fucking dreams that you can't even explain in a coherent way.
Damn.
So that was part of it.
You had to get the stakeholder on board.
Yeah. That's the biggest stakeholder in the building. For sure.
That's awesome. No, I'm glad. I mean, you love to hear it where it works out like that, because I'm sure for a lot of people, they might not be able to get that same kind of support. So it's really awesome. I'm really happy for y'all. My current girlfriend, she's really excited because she's an account. Your fiance's an accountant, so she's like, oh. So,
oh yeah. I mean, and dude, every relationship is gonna be different. I that's why I hate thankfully, no one asked me for relationship advice.
You're not on my relationship podcast. You're on my other podcast.
No, they're all because I would start and end it immediately with saying they're all different. Do what makes you the happiest, and I would leave the podcast. That would be my episode for the relationship podcast.
Hey, I mean,
but for me, the only thing I would say, man, is as long as you communicate, the more you communicate, the more you express like what your goals, intentions are really or are really at. From there, it should work out.
Gotcha.
And I say it should because some people will be like, no, fuck it, you're not gonna do that, and then you have to make a tough decision whether you want to stay or you want to move on, or like whatever, right? But what you don't want to do is make a decision that you're gonna resent someone else besides you. Because I can be accountable to myself. I can resent myself, and I'm fine. I can take my own bullets. I don't want to put the pressure on anyone else to resent them. Yeah, exactly. I don't want you to tell me, hey, you should only drink Blue Powerade, and I drink Blue Powerade, and then years from now I get cancer, and it's due to Blue Powerade, and now I'm hating you, right? So I'm like, oh, thank you for the suggestion. I'll drink whatever the fuck I want.
Gotcha.
I might drink Blue Powerade or Gatorade, whatever, and it's on me. I'd rather be like that than the other way around. So.
Gotcha. Yeah. On the topic of you holding yourself accountable, and what we've heard about you, like the schedule that you were doing where you were working 9 to 5, you'd get home and then immediately start working on the side job. I kind of want to turn the conversation into a little bit more on kind of what you do to keep yourself in check. Like, so we have some people even here in the chat saying like, oh, I'm learning how pathetic my worth ethic is compared to Juan. And so that's something I've always said about Juan. That's something I've always said about Juan. And Juan can attest to this. I've always said, I was like, man, whenever I feel like I'm doing a lot of stuff, I look at Juan Rivas and I'm like, damn, I need to go back to work, and I don't do anything, like for good ways. Like I don't want to say I'm comparing myself, but I look at what you've done. And this is part of what I was saying as a role model. I'm like, damn, I could be doing more. I could be doing some more stuff or doing in a different angle. So I would really love to hear, and that's part of the reason why I've trapped you and brought you here to Marz, to figure out how do you keep yourself accountable? Like, what are the things you do to like stay in check? Like, what kind of goals are you setting? Like, do you have weekly, monthly? Like, I really would just love to hear about your process on that. So,
Dude, the easiest way to give advice on this, man, it's that exactly that. Don't overjudge yourself for like not doing as much as whoever the hell is doing it. Because for the most part, I'm not talking about me, but like for the most part, a lot of people are full of shit about like what they do and like how they spend their time, you know. And it's like, you know, obviously you look at Instagram, you see, you know, everyone flashing their lights and everyone's doing amazing and you're not, right? That's how you feel, right?
yep.
For the most part. So that's the same way when you look at me, I'm like working up my ass off, dude. It's because I don't overjudge myself for not getting stuff done. Like I stream, I play, I still play games, you know, I
Yeah.
still make time for that
5 hours
because
of
I know that,
Apex.
yeah, dude, because for me, that is like to me, that's the equivalent of like, I'm not sure about you, but I personally love showers, playing basketball, and playing video games for letting my mind completely de-stress.
Mm.
Like that is a moment where I am at complete like peace, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So someone might argue that I'm not working hard enough. If you see my business partner, that motherfucker is trailing like 80 hours. He could fit in as in like in crazy amounts of hours of work. And the reason he's doing it because he loves what he's doing in that regard. For me, I do what I do. I try to make it all fit. I understand primarily thanks to my fiance is that I have to prioritize things and make them fit in the schedule. I can't just be like, oh, I got to leave you out Tuesdays. Like that doesn't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
So like to work as hard as me, man, it really you might already be working as hard as me. You just don't know it. You might be over judging like how you
Yes,
spend
yes.
your
Keep going.
time.
Keep going. Yes, yes.
I really do like let's say you go out on weekends, hypothetically. Let's say
Sure.
you go out from Friday to Sunday, you go out every single day, right? That's not that's not an indicator that you're not gonna succeed or that you're not working hard.
Hmm.
It's just your way of like relieving and relieving stress or enjoying yourself or just staying fucking sane,
Okay.
honestly, for the most part.
Okay.
Because if I said I'm not gonna play, I'm not gonna work out or do whatever, I'm just gonna work. I promise you, by the seventh or ninth or 10th hour, I'm gonna be like, man, this fucking
Super
sucks. And the
burned
next day, I'm
out.
not gonna have the same motivation to continue doing the work. So I don't judge myself for not getting shit done. I don't
Okay.
judge myself for that. When you say like, do I set goals weekly, monthly, or whatnot? I do and don't,
Okay.
because the goals I set for next week are almost more likely than not gonna change. Not
Hmm.
because I changed my mind, but because other shit gets in the way. And by other shit, I mean like work related. Like let's
Okay.
say my goal is for next month to have this platform built this way. You know, new requirements are going to show up, new endeavors are going to show up, new opportunities are going to show up, and
Okay.
I don't let that get in the way of my what's it called speed, momentum. I just
Right.
keep going. You know, to me, it's a lot of fun being in this chaos as opposed to a very structured. By next month, have this. 3 months from now, have that. To me, I would get, and that's just me, by the way.
Sure.
A lot of people work very, very well with having very structured goals and like milestones, and that's
Right.
phenomenal.
Waterfall style projects and stuff where it's
That's
just like
project
we're gonna
management.
do.
Yeah, exactly. That's project management 101, right? But for me, I don't let that be the deciding factor or inhibit me from being happy and doing my thing and
Hmm.
like ever judging myself for not getting shit done. Like I get my shit done. Some days I'll have a lazy day and not do shit. Like I'll just be watching YouTube videos, and
Sure.
I don't let that like overwhelm me. You know, I don't let that. I don't go to bed thinking, "Oh my god, I didn't do anything. This is bullshit." Like, no,
Yeah.
I just go wake up the next day and kick ass. You know, because I'm refueled, ready to kick ass again.
Hmm. Okay. Okay. So
So
if you're
no one should ever think that.
okay,
Basically,
okay, okay. No, I got you. I got you. You're saying don't beat yourself up for setting these kind of things. And it was something that you brought up before when I was talking about because a lot of times when we meet up and talk in person, that I'll bring up like, oh, you know, I always feel like I should be doing more, blah 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 blah, whatever. And you always say the same thing. You're like, listen, buddy, it's okay. Like if you set like crazy giganto stuff, then you're just not gonna do them, and then you're just gonna feel worse about it or whatever. You know, you always
which is
kind of
true.
yeah. So I mean, I guess if there's okay, so you're saying that, you know, as far as goal setting and stuff, that since kind of what the work that you do, it's all just super kind of like just
Agile.
depends. Like a lot of like a lot of ad hoc stuff. It's like, oh, you know, this could come up and now that's the new priority. This could come up,
Mhm.
that's the new priority. How do you then separate out your days? Because I'm sure your days have to follow a certain rhythm. right? So I'm sure on days that you like work, it's some kind of flow of like, okay, let's do some work. Okay, I'm done. Okay, let's stream. Okay, I'm done. Like what
Yeah.
is there anything?
I actually have it nailed down right now, and it could change tomorrow. Who knows? Which is another thing. I might make a schedule or a routine, and I might fall off of that routine, but I'm never gonna be like, oh fuck, fell off the routine. You know, for me, it's like, well, this might be my new routine. You know, whatever fits best.
Okay.
So I'll say this: I've been in a routine for like the past, I want to say, when did COVID start? I guess like March or like close down, like March.
End of March or so.
So let's say beginning of April, just hypothetical.
Yeah.
So ever since the beginning of April, me and my girlfriend started walking in the mornings just to get some exercise and to spend
Nice.
time together.
Love it.
Right. I didn't even realize I was in a routine until like a month ago when I was like, oh my God, I do the exact same shit over and over again every single day in the exact same order.
Oh, wow.
And it works for me.
Okay.
But it wasn't up until a month ago. Prior to that, in my mind, I'm just spitballing.
You didn't craft it out. You're not like, okay,
Right.
from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. walk with Bobby. Yeah.
Correct. And by the way, I'm also one of those that early on in my, I hate to say the word entrepreneurship, but like early on in the days of like trying to figure shit out, I would look up to people that have schedules and be like, oh my God, I aspire to have a schedule. And it's not now that I'm like, you know, doing all this stuff that I'm like, those people probably like me, where they realize they're in a schedule and then they call that their schedule.
They fell
not
into
the other
it.
way around. Right. So for me, again, every day I wake up, and this probably practical advice is that, or not advice, but like breakdown is that I wake up at 6:30, hit the snooze, 6:50, I'm out. I, you know, get ready, whatever. I go for a walk from 7 to 8. The reason it's 7 to 8 is because my girlfriend has to be online on the computer for her job, because we work from home now,
Yep.
at 8 a.m. At least be available.
Gotcha.
For me, I get home, make my coffee. I don't really start kicking ass till like 9 a.m. Sometimes some issues, you know, need have urgency, and I need to be on it before at 9 a.m. But for the most part, 9 a.m. I start kicking ass. Sometimes I eat lunch at 12. Sometimes I eat lunch at 1. Sometimes I don't eat lunch till 3. It really depends on my day,
Sure.
however busy I am. I work up until probably 5 or 6. That's my sweet spot. And the reason I cut off at that time is I've noticed that as soon as that time passes, even I might be glued to the job, but my productivity level is immediately decreased. Immediately. Could be placebo. I don't know yet. I might change it later on, but I realized that I'm not producing enough.
Okay.
So that's when I de-stress. And how do I de-stress? Playing
Fire
video
up the
games
stream,
or
baby.
streaming. Yeah, exactly. And that's why I stream, which is why I stream like on weekdays. I say 5 or 6 p.m. Central Time because of that, because that's what time I de-stress. So when people see me get on and streaming, that was like me like 2 seconds prior to like sending out an email or doing something. I immediately just switch tasks, right? So I stream, and this is the key part. This is probably the only thing that I do that I probably wouldn't naturally do, and it's that at 8 p.m. it's my cutoff time.
Oh.
I purposely set that 8 p.m. cutoff time with a conversation with my fiance when I realized that if it weren't for a cutoff time, I would still work or play up until 1 a.m. and then wake up feeling like shit the next morning, but continue pushing through it because what else am I gonna do, right? So I established this cutoff at 8 p.m. to either spend time or whatever. But from 8 p.m. onward, from 8 p.m. till 10 p.m., I shower, eat, cook, whatever, hang out with my girlfriend, watch a show, whatever the fuck, and call it a night. That's it, and then start over all over again. But like I said, I didn't build this schedule. It's just kind of like I realized I was in a schedule. I was like, well, I'm doing this very routine-ish, but it could change tomorrow. Tomorrow we might realize, actually, I kind of hate walking in the mornings. Let's walk afternoon.
Sure.
And then that's it. That's a new change now.
You're open to the idea that it's not all rigid. You're not rigid at all. You're extremely flexible.
Right. It's honestly very selfish. I take it very selfishly. I just do whatever fits me best, and that's kind of like how it's worked out.
Well, I mean, it's less selfish. It's more like self-preservation, right? Like there's an important conversation there. It's like you're doing things that you realize work for you, and if it works for you, it works for Bobby, it works for your job, and it works for people in the stream or people for you. So it's not so much selfish. It's you found what works for you, and what works for you is what helps you be the best and do the best for other people.
Right. Exactly. So yeah. So anyone out there trying to think that they need a schedule, you might need a schedule, you might not. But until you try it, you won't ever realize it. Try fitting yourself in a schedule.
Gotcha.
Might work, might not.
Gotcha. That's it's funny how you realize that only after looking back and being like, wait a minute, I just realized like I do the
Yeah,
same.
exactly. And it's been a while. It's been a while since we've been doing the exact same thing. Like, it wasn't until I edited a YouTube video and the editor was like, uh, "When do you stream?" I was like, "Oh, I stream 5 to 6 p.m." You know, I usually that's when I get on 5 or 6 p.m. up until 8. And that's when it clicked. I was like, "Holy shit! I've been doing this every day for this reason." Like, it's never been, I never got on at 1 p.m. to
Yeah,
stream because
yeah.
I'm working, I'm doing some other stuff, and I realized that's the schedule. So yeah, I just fell into the schedule and just made it my schedule.
Love it. That's so
Yeah,
great. That's so
right.
great. All right. Well, look, chat. If we can't get any goal stuff or any schedule stuff, here's something I'm sure we can get. So what are your like most used tools or most used softwares like on a day to day, like when you're kicking ass, like what do we see open on Juan's desktop?
Oh, I'm glad you brought that up because I live and breathe in Trello and Slack.
Okay, so you hear that? We got something. We got something. We've got something. We've got him. We've got him. Trello and
Hey,
Slack.
yeah,
Write that
I'll
down.
give
Write
you
that down.
practical advice for goals too. I'll give you practical
Write them
advice
down.
for
Write it
goals.
down. No, 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 no. I want to hear. I want to hear about this. I want to hear about this.
For the dude, I mean, I've shown you.
No,
I've
I know.
shown
I
you.
know. I know. I want to hear for them. They
Right,
might not know
right.
what Trello is.
But I have Trello for every single project that I have. And
Mm,
by project, I mean literally every single project. So, like, for my gaming channel, which
mm,
let's call it a project for calling it a project,
for
but
sure.
my gaming channel, I have all the list of, like, content I wanna create, content I have created,
Mm,
content that I've made clips of, content that I need editors to make, content I need thumbnails to make, content that's been published, and that's how I label tools for streamers and things like that.
love it.
Like, I have that all in my Trello. That's how I do it. And then I have 20 other Trello boards that are entitled, I mean, they're titled per the project that I'm working on. And I live and breathe by that because if I don't write it down physically, literally, I have like 20 of these
Love
all
it.
around the house.
Yeah. Yeah.
20 of these
When we
all
show
around
up
the
for
house.
lunch, you always have one.
Yeah, which is weird of me to do,
No,
but
no,
I
it's fine.
do it
It's fine.
because
It's fine.
I need that. So, anyways, I have that because I write down my ideas, and from there I plot them onto Trello so that they have a place to live and they'll never be forgotten. Like in Trello, you can archive a card and it'll still be there. You can still
Yep.
search it back. But
Yep.
for me, I write it in this piece of paper because it's just what I'm naturally inclined to do. Then I do the painstaking task of making them Trello cards and then setting due dates sometimes. Sometimes I don't. And I tag people and message them, which is where the other one comes in is Slack. That's the one I use to communicate with all the members that I manage, all the people that I manage, because there's no better way, honestly, to this point. But
Gotcha.
those are the tools that I live and breathe in. Obviously Gmail, but like, I mean, that's just
Yeah.
email, right? And that's pretty much it for the tasks I live in. Because if I started labeling, mentioning every single tool I use, like again, every day, because depending on the task, I have new tools.
Okay.
I'm on a website, I'm on a SQL server, which is a little bit more nerdy and techier. I'm on just glossing and researching. I'm doing multiple things, but Trello and Slack are basically tattooed on my day to day.
So what's an example of something that you would like write down on these note, like if you're taking your notebook around, like what's something that you're like, oh, I need to get this.
I know this is weird, but I personally love watching ads, especially on Facebook
Hmm.
and social media for that matter. When I get targeted for an ad, I get excited because I'm like, okay, how did I get targeted? Who are these people? What are they really trying to offer me? And what is their business model? And see if
Hmm.
they for example, if as a marketer, that's how I started. When I get targeted for an ad that I shouldn't have been targeted, let's say I get targeted for a restaurant in California, I message them and say, hey, I got mistargeted. If you want better ads, I can help you, and that's how I would,
Wow.
like, hit up companies. So anyways, um, so, that's one of the ways that I'm sorry, okay, what was the question? I kinda forgot, I went on a
What
tangent.
are what are the type of things when you're in your day to day and you have like your notebook on you that you're like, I need to write
Oh,
this
got
down
it.
so I don't forget.
Right, so, anyways, I'm looking at ads, for example, and I see a very good use case for how they did it.
Hmm.
Or how they delivered the message. I write that down. Sometimes I'm walking or whatever. Well, if I'm walking, I don't have my notebook on me. But let's say hypothetically, I'm at a restaurant with you, and you say something that sparks an idea on me. I just have to write it down. And chicken scratches. It doesn't matter what it is. I just write it down. Later, I'll plot a bigger plan.
Hmm.
I'll be honest. Probably about 40% of what I write goes to the garbage. I'm like, that's
Hmm.
useless, but it's still written. It's still there. But I'm saying, like, at the time, I thought it was bigger than what it is. I wrote it down. I thought about it. It doesn't make sense anymore. Cool. But I've realized that if I don't write anything down, anything that's going in my mind, it'll be forever forgotten. It'll just never come back to my head or when it's too late. So, like, I'll write down again things that advertisers did well. I'll write down ideas for content. I'll write down things that I need to do that don't really require a Trello card
Okay.
to be created, like very step by step things. I'll write down, email this person, reply to this person, and things
Mhm.
like that. So like that's where I carry the notebook. That's what I use. That's what I write for the most part. Just ideas, things that I like, things that I need to do, and just overall like that.
Gotcha. So and then things that inspired you, right? So that's cool. That's a really cool thing about the ads. So I do something similar when I get targeted for like anime like merch stuff on Instagram. I like to take screenshots to see how I could make my ads better. So very similar vein
Right.
of that is like seeing what other people do and seeing if
Right.
there's some piece of creative or something, if they did something that like caught my eye, or seeing how they
Right.
place all the products and everything. So I feel
Well,
you on that.
and we when we've met, I mean, I don't know if every time, but almost every time that we meet, I'm always like, "Hey, you should try this new tool. You
Yeah,
should
yeah, yeah.
try this."
Yeah.
The only reason I have this plethora of tools in my head of like things that could work, could not work, is because of this. I get targeted. I love getting targeted. I write
Mm.
them down. I purposely try to get targeted sometimes. I literally will go on Google and search for things I want to see how they do,
Huh.
and I go to the website and see how I get targeted from there and
That's
how
amazing.
persistent they are. So that's something I write down. That's something that because of that, I would say I add a lot of value to my team, because they'll be like, one day they'll be like, what if we did this or try to do this? I'm like, oh, there's already a tool that does that. I actually found it like 7 months ago, and it's made in Brazil. These guys are, I don't know, blah blah blah. I just know about it,
Do
and
you do
I'll
you
try them
so
out.
when you find one or like different tools and whatever, you're putting them on to like a Trello card or something, and you're like keeping track of them,
Trello
or
card. Actually, I can show you right now. Well,
oh
it won't show on screen, but I have a notes that I literally call content creation like stuff, apps, and services. Like it's right here. You can like scroll up and down. You
yeah,
probably
it's
won't
a
see
note.
it, but
Yeah,
it's
yeah, it's
like
a notes. I got you.
super long list of like things that I've come up with and I've encountered. I'm like, I gotta write it down, tag them
So
right here.
is that like you would put them on the notepad, and then for the winners or the ones that you want to try or the ones you have tried, you'll transfer them into like notes.
Right. So I really hate typing on my phone.
Hmm.
I just don't like it.
Hmm.
For me, I feel like I'm not doing it right. So I first started creating a notes here. Then I was like, there were times where I had a notepad next to me. I would just write it there, and it just transitioned from just notepad to Trello. So like I have a list here, I have a list there, I have a list on Trello, I have a plethora of things. The other day, my friend, my business partner, told me you probably should make a list called juanstools.com and just put every single
Yeah,
thing that you
yeah,
come up with, and you'll probably make a really good affiliate marketing money.
yeah.
Like, that sounds like a killer idea.
That'd be fun. I mean, yeah, because I
Yeah.
mean, even recently with my current like YouTube and Twitch endeavors, you've been like, "Hey, man, look, I found all these real cool stuff. Check it out." And I'm like,
Right.
"Cool." And then like another day, it'll be like, "Hey, man, I found some more stuff. Check it out." And I'm like, "Oh man, just killing it,
Yeah, yeah. The
killing it."
most recent one, which by the way, actually,
Uh oh.
anyone watching this, including you, anyone that makes content on YouTube and you want to get the word out besides spamming your family and friends on social media, there's this company. I just found it. I'm just
Uh
beta
oh.
testing them right now. I've already ran 2 videos with them. It's called vrocket.co, vrocket.co, basically. And what they do is that they take your video, they ask you, I think it's like 3 questions, which is like, who do you want to target? And it's like gender, interest, and your budget. I think that's pretty much it. You set your budget, and they'll guarantee you certain views in return. So basically, they'll run ads with your videos on YouTube. So as of right now, again, I'm in beta test because I want to see like if this is this doesn't seem like they're selling views. They're just selling advertisements for the video,
Okay,
and
like
they'll show
video
you
placements.
analytics, YouTube analytics. So they're basically running ads for you.
Yeah.
And personally like it because I personally, even though I'm a marketer, I don't even want to spend a single minute spending on building campaigns on YouTube and
Gotcha.
calibrating them. Because if you never ran ads before, or you think you ran a successful ad, when you run an ad, you run it today, tomorrow it might change. You have to be on it to change it and
Yeah.
tweak it
Yeah.
as an advertiser. So I'd rather pay someone else to do it. So what I do is use VRocket. And for VRocket, I've used 2 videos so far. You can check them out on the YouTube channel. You'll probably you can easily tell which ones were ran with ads because they're like insanely a lot more views than the others. But
Oh.
yeah, and the main thing that I would use this for, and I'll continue to use this, is to accurately test the thumbnail A/B test. So,
Damn.
like, because I don't have that many subscribers or many viewers, it's really hard to get any analytics because I'll get 7 views on one video. It's like
Yeah.
you can't really A/B test with seven
I'm in the
people,
same boat. Yep.
right? But with this, you can because now you can A/B test with like 1,000 people. and it'll grade your click-through rate, which so far I've been killing it. Thank God to the thumbnail editor. He's been doing fucking amazing. For videos that I know are shit, he's doing amazing thumbnails.
Is this the one with the company, or is this the other person that's on their own on Fiverr or whatever?
Freelance. He's from Colombia.
Okay.
Really cool, really cool friend actually.
Okay.
I met him a couple months ago. Really cool guy, really great designer. He's done phenomenal work for me and for other friends of mine as well.
Okay.
I think I gave it to you in that list.
I'm pretty sure you did. I'll put it in the YouTube video in the description as well, and I'll put one for whatever else we mentioned so people can check it out.
Yeah. So
you got to A/B test with this to show views. So do they run your video as like pre-roll in front of like someone's YouTube video? Dang.
Not pre-roll. No, not pre-roll. Because pre-roll entails that you made a video out of the video as an advertisement. So pre-rolls have to be an advertisement. And
I've seen pre-roll that's literally someone's YouTube video, and then the actual YouTube video starts, which is like insane to me. Yeah, like it's literally like you're watching someone's video, and then it just goes into the actual video that you clicked. And it's on the same thing. Sure. But I'm saying, like, I've seen that before. Basically, the ad is just their video. So you click it.
Right. That's crazy. I want to get targeted like you because I want to see this. I want to see how they deliver because that's interesting. No, for me, as I understand it right now, again, beta test. I'm not advocating for it. I'm just saying this is what I'm doing right now. I'll let y'all know in the next episode whether it worked or not. But vrocket.co, so far, what they do, what I think is that they have it on the recommended. You know, when you watch YouTube videos on the recommended, the very first one it shows is a ad.
Sponsored, yeah, the yellow one sponsored.
And below are obviously actually recommended for you. But that's how I think I'm getting those ads placed.
Love
and
it.
So far, it's been delivering great.
Yeah. No, I love it. That's fascinating. And I liked how what you touched on about saying like, look, there are so many different aspects of like social media marketing and just marketing campaigns in general. And then you realizing like, look, building campaigns, figuring out demographics, keeping up with campaigns and stuff, like that's not necessarily what interests you. So you're like, okay, let me hire someone or figure out some company. Yeah, I mean, well, sure, because it's important to learn and do it, right? So, like for Whip Shirts, like I have to do it, and I do it, and I learned to do it by throwing money at Facebook and Instagram ads and trying to learn how to do it.
Right. That's the only way to do it.
I think there's something that we can touch on here, and something that is, I know, a topic that we always talk about and we always love. I love going into it, at least, is how it's two parts. One, I want to talk about content creation as a whole and how you structure that for your Twitch and YouTube, right? Because you've been doing that a lot now and getting a lot more into it and taking it a lot more seriously from what I've seen. But I also want to talk about how you've worked with or learned to work with and have had to realize how, when, and why to outsource some work that you do, right?
Oh, that's a great.
So we can start about talking about your journey with like Twitch and YouTube, and then we can fill it in with parts when you've realized, okay, this is something I can outsource. This is something I can outsource.
Right.
Because you've been taking Twitch a lot more seriously, and you've been having a lot more fun on it recently.
Oh yeah, dude. I switched like 2 months ago, became affiliate, and it's been a roller coaster roller coaster implies that it's good and bad. For me, it's been an avalanche, or I don't know what analogy to use. It's been phenomenal. I've loved it. The interaction here has been phenomenal. I can't even describe how grateful I am for the people that show up and actually interact, as opposed to when I stream on Facebook. And again, I'm not shitting on Facebook. I'm saying that my experience with Twitch has been exponentially more interactive and more fun. Like I talked to more people in a 30-minute stream than I did in a 5-hour stream on Facebook.
Gotcha.
And that's not to bash anyone, but like for me, it's been phenomenal. But content creation. Outside of streaming and YouTube, like before that, I was still preaching the Gary Vee model for content creation, which is you take a long piece of content, a podcast like this one, a stream, which is like 4 hours or whatever it is. And from that, you chop it up into several pieces that you can then distribute, get feedback, and then redistribute based on that feedback again. So from one piece, you could potentially make, depending on how the length of it and how many clips you could make, like 10 or 15 or 80 times, not 80 times, that sounds ludicrous, but like at least 50 times a piece of content, hypothetically. Let's say in this interview, like in this podcast, you can clip 20 pieces, separate pieces of like minute long pieces. and then 5 of those pieces were amazing. They did really good on analytics. You personally feel like those tie into your brand more, so you want to further expand on that, and you create more content around that. Now you have more ideas about what it create,
You're getting
as
feedback.
opposed to as opposed to just streaming 4 hours long and then calling it a night and then getting on again the next day, and that's it. Now for me, I applied that knowledge, that structure that's already applied in mass media and large companies to streaming. I was like, for
Mhm.
streaming, I want to make videos. I still don't know. I'm still kicking around like what am I gonna actually create? I'm still creating like either really good games, funny moments, or like it's just some things I want to show. But so far, I'm just kicking the can to see what I create. But for right now, I'm doing the streams. I'm mentally thinking to myself, this was a good moment. I'm either gonna clip it or at least gonna use this in a video.
Mm.
I said something of some sorts. As soon as I finish the stream, which we'll get at in the second question, but I use those clips, create them, publish them on social media, and try to create other avenues to create content on. And that's my whole model. To me, it's as easy as the more you talk, the more you spread, the easier it'll be for people to find you.
Right. Which is
So that's how I.
huge. Which is huge.
Yeah, the more platforms you can be on, the more newspapers you can pass out, the more flyers, the higher the chances of people coming back,
More impressions.
or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
Right. So that's pretty much my motto for it. Again, it might seem daunting and intimidating to a lot of people until you break it down to a formula, which is as simple as take the big fucking piece of content, find clips, mash them together. That's another long piece of content, and further continue doing that,
Mm.
and eventually, and let's say, for example, for those that play Apex, let's say you got a really cool kill with a wingman. You can either use that clip for wingman right now, and also a month from now compile 20 clips of wingman kills, and now you have a compilation.
Yep.
And guess what, from that same compilation you can even drill down even deeper, even lower, deeper, however you want to use it, into a shorter clip. And it can go so many ways. So that's how I think of it. That's why I'm passionate about content creation,
Mhm.
because for me it's as simple as a formula.
Yep.
It's once you break it down to a formula, you'll realize it's a lot easier. And there's
Right.
tools out there to make it exponentially faster for you if
Right.
you don't want to edit or cut it or clip it or anything.
Correct. Right. You can fill in the gaps of stuff that you either don't want to do or don't feel comfortable doing or don't even know how to do.
Right, because I've been there. I was streaming 8 hours, and afterwards, the last thing I want to do is touch or move my mouse and keyboard. I just want to go back to bed and like do or eat
Yeah,
or
we hit
whatever.
the
Or
8 p.m.
pass out.
cutoff. We're done.
Right, exactly. The 8 p.m. cutoff. You think I have time to do anything else? No, I don't.
Love it.
So that's pretty much my content creation mentality.
Gotcha. So right now, what parts have you successfully been able to find and hire people to help with that model to keep the engine going?
Easy, the video editing by
Video
far.
editing. Okay. So
Dude,
you identified this as like the most time consuming part for
for
you.
sure, dude. For sure. I remember that's why I quit editing podcasts, because I was like, and even then, podcasts should be easy. Like in reality, a podcast is a full long term thing, unless someone in the middle goes to the bathroom or whatever, which is an easy moment to just chop out. And you have an intro, you have an outro. Exactly. Yeah. Like right now, you have an intro, you have an outro, and that's pretty much it. And even then, I was like, I really don't like this. I
Mm.
really feel like it's consuming my time.
Mhm.
I am constantly getting
You're not
distracted
pumped.
by the things I could do. Like, oh, I can make this cool little transition. And now it's like another 4 hours of me, for me, I realized that's a weakness. I need to step it up. And again, not because I intended to, but because I'm in a schedule, I know that my time, it's valuable. At least to me, it is.
Yeah.
So for
No,
me
100%.
to spend 2 hours editing a video, I could have spent that either streaming, I could have spent that developing something, I could have spent that with my team
Finding the
working on something, like
tools. Yep.
so many other things I could do. So for me, that's how I realized, okay, I need to get this off my plate like immediately. Also, people have been editing videos, like the guys I recommended, they've been doing this for so long that to turn around one of my videos, it'll take them like a day or two. For me, it would have taken me a whole week to make a quarter or an eighth
Yep.
of like what they made.
I timed myself just as an aside for a 3 hour stream that I did to make the like 6 to 7 minute YouTube video. It was like
Right.
easily over 7 or so hours. I lost count because I had a timer going because I wanted to see, and it was easily over that amount. And that's me, I don't edit that much, so take that however you want. But yeah, like that's time that could have easily been doing like streaming and getting more content
Right.
out. So
Exactly. To me, And I gotta owe this again to my friend Adam. You know, and his analogy is a little different, but for him, he would rather work on the oil mine, extract oil, than I mean oil, gold. Sorry, gold mine.
Same
He'd
shit. We're
rather
in Houston.
extract
Same shit.
gold. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Extract the raw material and have someone else craft into whatever the fuck they want, than to have to do it the other way around
Mm,
or do the whole pipeline. For me, I'd rather get as many pieces of content as I can, or as much of potential of content I can, and then have someone else helping on the other end.
gotcha. Gotcha. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's yeah. No, I mean I fully agree. And that's been everything that you've so just for the people listening and watching, everything you've said so far is 100% what I've been trying to do and trying to explain, and what I've been working at. So same thing with you. I've realized that the best thing, or what I've been doing, is doing long shows or whatever on Twitch. So the best way to think about the content that you've described, right, the way I try to see it, is kind of like an upside down pyramid, right? So you have the really long stuff, which would be the unedited Twitch stream that you do, right? And then you break it down, and then you're like, okay, now I have the YouTube videos. Like at least in the case of this podcast, right? This is the actual process that I follow for this, right? I have this long talk on YouTube or on Twitch, right? Right now, as we're going along, I'm clipping and marking different spots with my stream deck, saying, okay, this is a great part. This is a new conversation, whatever. And now I'll go ahead and highlight that talk that we do, this talk. I highlight it, I download it, and then I open it into Premiere. And now I look with what I've already highlighted for clips. I'm like, okay, this is a good spot. Let me find it. I'll mark it in Premiere as like, this is a good clip moment. This is a good clip moment. This is different parts where we segue into different things. And then, like you said, I slap on my intro, slap out my outro, and if whatever editing I need to do in the middle, whatever, boom, that's a YouTube video ready to go. Then I say, okay, with this clip number 1, clip number 2, clip number 3, I'll grab those. And now I've hired my little sister to help with this, because she's done stuff with Premiere, and I've been wanting to kind of teach her this stuff. So I'm like, okay, I'll put I put it in folder in G Drive. And I'm like, hey, I put some clips for you to caption. So I have her go and caption those clips, and just close caption, whatever. So it'll be like a 30 seconds to a minute clip. And then
I'm sorry for that, by the way, because I talk really fast, so I apologize in advance.
We're Caribbean. This is what we do. This is how we do it. And so she'll put it. Yeah, no, dude. She. Some of them is really bad. And she'll put it in the out, and that's ready to go. So like today, either today or I think today, because it's early enough, or at least very very earliest tomorrow, I'll have a clip ready of like, this is an example of the talk that we did. Da, 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 I'm so happy to have Juan on. Blah, 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 blah. We talked so much about the marketing and and that'll be ready to go. And then let's say it gets time to when I want to post a YouTube video. That day I'll post another clip, and then show, another clip saying, okay, hey, YouTube video's live, please go check it out, and then maybe like put in like a thumbnail in the thread or what have you. Right. And just try to get it out there, and I post it to the social. So Instagram, Twitter. I made a Facebook page finally, and go from there. Nice. Yeah, and so it's really important for people, especially people who only do Twitch stuff, to realize that like it's so important to get this stuff out on YouTube, because it'll stay there and actually be there and live somewhere. And also just getting the clips out onto social medias, because that's how people blow up. Like there have been so many people that have blown up because like a TikTok went viral on Twitter, and now people know who they are, and then they can transition into doing Twitch or YouTube stuff, right? And I've seen it time and time again. So it's what's up?
No, I was gonna say that, and also like, you gotta get your personality out there. Like all these clips that you make, you gotta show the world who you are, what you're made of. Like, let's say you only make one clip just because you don't have time or whatever reason you have, right? And by the way, everyone has reasons. I'm not saying that they're excuses. I'm just saying like if you only have time for one clip, that's fine. But keep in mind, from a user perspective, they only watch one clip. That might not be enough for them to compile and create this personality or persona about you. Usually, and I do this. When I want to find out about someone, I go to their page, whatever it is, Instagram, whatever, and I scroll for a little bit. And stalk them for like 8 to 20 posts. And then I formulate who I think they are and whether I want to watch them or not, or whatever it is, So like the more you have, the more, the more the merrier. And they couldn't be any truer for this.
Yeah, and it's like you said, it's like the more impressions you get on these different types of things, people start getting an idea of who you are, what content is, and then you
Right.
never know what piece of content you do or put out there will go crazy viral, and then everyone starts checking your stuff out. But if you don't put that out there, you're never gonna get that type of exposure.
No. Yeah, it's almost like an artist. Like there's an artist that I know a lot of people don't like as a person because he's very cocky and you know what it is. But his mentality towards music, it's I try to adopt that towards things I do in work or content creation. Is that he basically says that no song is ever done perfect, no song is ever completed,
Hmm.
but you should never hold yourself back in releasing this songs. You never know. You have to continue, releasing content, releasing stuff as much as you can because sometimes what you think was shit, someone
Yeah,
absolutely loved it and would
never know.
die to see you in person to hear you sing it, or in this case, watch your stream and hit a sub button or something.
Yeah.
And also, want to hit on something. You're pretty lucky, man, because I can't even open Premiere Pro on my computer.
Oh
My
my
computer
God. Yeah.
crashes as soon as I open Premiere Pro. So I couldn't edit anything, but like I tried even DaVinci, which is free,
Yeah.
and the same thing, just crashes. I can't do it. So I was like, I definitely need help.
Damn. That's
Yeah.
rough.
So I can't even open it, man.
Dang. So where do you how do you so are you treating like Twitch and YouTube right now? Like it's just kind of like a fun, like I just want to do this, like is this your new side kind of thing that you've been working on, or like what do you see with this, or what do you plan on it, or like what do you think?
That's a great thing because I struggle with this one because I enjoy it like a hobby. I treat it like a hobby,
Hmm.
but I at least make decisions on it that are financially related as a business, or at least I
Right.
try to at
That's
the,
what I
the
yeah.
most part. Right. So, like for example, like some people take it too serious, like a business, and they'll say like, let's say they went live for 2 hours, they peaked at 10 viewers, and now they go back and the next day they stream for 1 hour, they peaked at 4 viewers, and they immediately will think, oh, I gotta stream 2 hours, and it has to be on Tuesdays at 3 p.m. because I hit the 10, and and that's the only way I can get more exposure and return those into cheers or bits or whatever it is.
Hmm.
And in reality, man, they're there to watch you enjoy what you're doing. And if you
Hmm.
treat it as business for the most part, you'll most likely end up treating like being too serious and like too focused on the analytics and too focused on like the monetary gain. For me, I absolutely adore just seeing people in the chat,
Hmm.
whether it's watching me play, whether it's chatting with each other. And I know a lot of people say this, so I'm not the first, or I'm hopefully not the last to say this, but I absolutely just love that part. And for me, I love gaming. It's like I said, it's my de-stress, and the fact that there's people joining in to de-stress with me, like to me, that's phenomenal. So that's how I treat it. I start happy, I end the stream happy, unless I rage quit. And for the most part, I'm excited for the stream. But, I never go to bed or wake up thinking, "Man, I gotta figure out it put pressure on myself from a business perspective, like, why is this not returning money? Because I know this will not immediately return, or at least not to the degree of monetary investment made initially." So, for me to stress over it doesn't make sense. So I treat it as a hobby, but I plan to grow it as a business.
Hmm.
I'm not dumb either. But I'm just not pressuring myself too much to where I lose the thing I love about it, which is to just play.
That's honestly like the I feel like the heart and spirit of Twitch as a whole is like come get people to hang out with you enjoying something, and you can all enjoy it together and just hang out, have a good
Right.
time.
Exactly. That's how I see it.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, no, and I'm glad that you finally, or that you're finally really enjoying it, or that you've figured out kind of how to get all your setup and everything correct, and then like you've been having a lot of people hanging out and stuff. So it's fun.
Yeah.
It's always great. Yeah, man.
Yeah, no, it's been a blast, man. I can't even and especially for my birthday month.
Yeah.
I call it birthday month because that's how the subs work, and they work for a month. It's been going crazy. Shout out to the Last Time Cruise and Dad Energy and King Colin. Sam and I. I'm not gonna mention everyone, but like for the most part, they always not only invested in the channel, but like they also have gifted subs and just completely just revolutionized the streaming for me. Like for me, they've completely like revitalized streaming and
Gotcha.
allowed for other people to join in, like Gerardo and everyone else to like just for me just completely amplify streaming for me. Before on Facebook, I didn't get that, and it's not their fault. Just Facebook sucks for
Sure.
that reason. In that regard for now,
At
who
that
knows?
at that
But,
time, yeah.
like, yeah, Twitch, like, all these folks for my birthday month, it was crazy. Everyone went crazy, and it just made me more sure that I love what I'm doing right now on Twitch.
I love it. I love it. Cool. Um, I wanna hit you with some quick kind of rapid fire kind of questions. As like I said, I'm going full Tim Ferriss on this. So, what do you think is okay? So I guess we touched on something like this, but what's one thing that you think that would be that's a shame that people didn't know, either about you or something that you feel like they might be missing out on, or something that you think people could really enjoy? Does anything come to mind
About me?
about either about you or things that you do or know? You know.
Oh man, yeah, there's so many things, but I think okay, rapid fire. Like you said earlier, you think that I work too hard. In reality, I don't think I do. I think I'm really relaxed, and I think that false image that I work really hard, and I might work hard for me enough to like make things happen, but in reality, when if you and I were to compare that to that, you will see a lot of similarities. Like you really, and I'm saying you because you mentioned it, but like in general,
Sure.
you shouldn't beat yourself down for not meeting certain standards. I could be running all day, but not be as fit as someone who's running two times a week. It's just completely different scenarios.
Gotcha.
So that's one that I at least want people to take away from this is that
Don't beat yourself
first of all,
up.
don't compare yourself to anyone. Don't beat yourself up for seeing someone talk a lot of game and you thinking that they're working their asses off or they're fucking flying jets, they have models in their house, like all this stuff. Because it's fairly common now.
Okay.
So I would say that.
I like it. I'll use that as your billboard as well. What book has influenced you the most, either ever or just this year, or that you currently enjoy?
I haven't had a chance to read books recently.
Damn,
I
he
hate
said,
myself.
"Fuck books, bro. I don't need that shit." Okay.
No.
Okay. Then let's not do book. Is there a website, or how do you get your information that you feel is really useful? And don't say Google.
No. I was actually gonna recommend the book for sure.
Okay, yeah.
Like, hands
Hit me
down,
with the book.
I just recently haven't had it. I wish I was able to read a book recently. But the one book that I picked up, and again, I know this guy gets a lot of hate for how he is and the things he's done in the
I
past.
already know who
But
you're gonna say.
the Jordan Belfort,
Never mind.
hold on, I got it right. What is it? Way of the Wolf.
Okay.
For me, that book, again, I know the character is a very controversial character, but for me, it was the first time that a book gave me practical and a practical advice on how to sell. It gave me confidence on selling stuff. And you might be thinking, well, what are you selling? Bottles, like Xboxes? What are you selling? Every day you're selling people on your opinions. You're selling people on what you believe in. You're selling people on like decisions and decision making.
Mhm.
Some people more than others, but for the most part, you're always selling something. And that book to me opened my mind from a practical perspective how to sell better. And
Okay.
after that book, I started buying a shit ton of books. I realized there's a lot of power in books.
Funnily enough, I think someone else had mentioned that book either on the first one when I started coming back to doing these podcasts, or the second one. I feel like this isn't the first time someone's said that, because apparently isn't like something in the book where it's like if someone has like a 1% chance of like buying something that you're in, like there's still a chance that you could do it or whatever.
Oh yes. Oh my God, that's hilarious.
So someone
Yes.
else brought that up. Yeah.
Cardone and Jordan Belfort interview. That was hilarious. I'm not gonna deviate from that, but yeah, his book is opposite. His book saying like,
Oh,
we'll
okay.
skip from one. If they're below a certain number, don't even. You're wasting your time.
Okay.
Because sure you could convince them, but the time you spent convincing them, you could have got two people that
Who
were
are
already
sold. Yep.
Yeah. So,
Gotcha.
like, which is great actually. It's a great way of looking, prioritizing stuff.
Cool. Good. Love it. I didn't even have any other rapid fire questions now. That's crazy.
You're good, man. But yeah, that one and Gary Vee, man. Gary Vee's books have been amazing too. Like
Yeah.
the Ask Gary Vee one is amazing. It's a quick one that you don't have to read from beginning to end. Is one that you can just open up and say like, I want to learn about this specific thing or hear about this right now, and you'll
Gotcha.
jump straight into that. Because he has the Ask Gary Vee show,
Yeah.
the podcast basically. So he just compile a bunch of those, which again, long form content,
Yep.
turn it into bite sized things, and he turned it into a book, basically with the highlights of the most requested ones. So the
Gotcha.
Ask Gary Vee is a great book.
Gotcha. Love it.
Yeah.
You excited for season 6 of Apex?
Oh, for sure, dude. It just came out today, man. The teaser came out. I mean, I can talk at length about Apex, but in reality, I'm gonna play it regardless. I go where my friends go for the most part. I try to because without it, I feel like the game kind of dies on me. For me, if I can play with friends, I'd rather lose but have friends to play with and communicate and just have a blast than by myself winning. To me, that's not fun. I might make a great YouTube video, but for me, I'd rather just play with friends. To me, there's a lot more value in that.
Love it.
So excited for it.
Love it. Cool. Well, I mean, I think you had a really good answer for to kind of like leave us off on when you were speaking about, not comparing yourself and your work to other people, and realizing that other people may look like they're doing a lot, but you have no idea what's going on behind the scenes, right? Like someone who you don't see anything of could be working like 5 times as hard as you, right?
Right. Which is why I try to be quiet with the things I do for that specific reason, because I don't want anyone looking at me. Which obviously I failed at that because you think I do a lot, but I
Yeah,
try to
no.
mitigate that because of that, because I don't want anyone to think of themselves that this guy's doing great things. In
Yeah, well,
reality,
yeah,
tomorrow, could crash and burn tomorrow. Who knows? I don't know.
right.
I'm working towards it happening, but it could happen, and I'm open to it. You know.
Love it. And that's kind of the big thing, is that like you if and it's kind of like a theme that we've heard throughout this entire talk, really, is that like if something happens, we'll reroute course and keep going. Like I think that's a theme that we've heard for the entire talk, really, is that you're not worried about what potential obstacle or problem might come up. We're gonna figure it out and we'll go from there. And that's something that I think is really important, not just entrepreneurially, but it's an important thing to try to a skill or something to kind of build up or know when to utilize, because you never really know when something might happen or not. So
Right. Exactly. That's exactly true.
love it. Cool. Well, is there anything you want to leave us on? Anything you want to shout out? So your Twitch, YouTube, this is your moment. Feel free to just go in. Let us know what cool stuff you're on. Come on.
I suck a self promoter, but I guess the only thing I would leave you guys with is the stream. That's pretty much it. Just because that's there's no sales pitch there. It's simply like if you want to come and ask me more questions, anything
Yeah.
I think I can elaborate more on. Feel free to jump on my Twitch, twitch.tv/IamJuanri. That's IAMJUANRI. I might have said that too fast, but anyways, if you have any questions, if you think that I didn't clarify on something, feel free to jump on my Twitch, and would love to chat and meet you.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, hey, also check out his YouTube, because he's not going to plug that, but I'll plug it for him. Check out his YouTube, social media stuff, if he ever posts and stuff or gets more into it. I really want to thank you, Juan, for coming on. It's been a great talk. I'll stop telling people that you're super hardworking and stuff. I'm going to tell them you're a lazy bum. You don't do nothing. I really do appreciate it. I'm glad that we got to go full circle from the original podcast. I'm sorry it took me so long to finally get my own one started, but I think this was a really good and like really like kind of dense one to talk about, especially towards the tail end for content stuff. So I'm really excited I got to pick your brain. I think it's really important stuff that people can really act on and take that they might not be aware of, right? So I really think this is really good, important stuff for people to learn and talk about, and I love talking about it. I know you love talking about it, so I'm really grateful that I get to take your time. And yeah, I mean, this is like our 3-month checkup, because we do those every now and then, so we couldn't do it in person this time around, but at least we got to do it on Twitch. So
well, man, I'm really thankful for having me on the show, man. I really enjoy it. I'm glad to see everything going, prospering for you, man. So it's all the best. I think it's gonna continue going. So I'm hoping I'm here for the ride for it. So
man.
Thank you so much.
I remember, bro. The last time we had sushi, I was like, oh man, I need to start my podcast and stuff finally. So I'm glad.
Yeah.
I'm glad I fucking followed through on that. So
awesome. I knew you were going to, man. If it entailed you having fun, so that's awesome, dude.
Love it. We're gonna go ahead and cut the YouTube video here. Thank y'all so much, and tune in. We love y'all. I'm also excited that you all came for the first Spanish recording of the Earth to Mars podcast. No, I'm kidding.
Dude, I was gonna say, don't put me in the spot for Spanish, man.
Oh,
Jesus.
bienvenidos todos para el
Harder.
primero.